Last week we looked at how the state works with disabled veterans to introduce them to farming. This week we wanted to dive a little more into this subject. So we have Robert Elliott here to talk about the work he does at NC State and Fort Bragg. Now Robert, why is farming a good fit for soldiers coming out of their service?
Depending on the type of disability issues or any kind of personal issues that a veteran may have or a transition in service member may have, farming's very attractive to them in the sense that they can kind of blend back in with nature and be outside. It's not confining to a cubicle somewhere. It's not confining to a university somewhere for very long extended periods of time. It helps in a wide variety of ways, just simply because they're integrating themselves into something that nourishes life instead of destroying it. So I think that's one of the bigger appeals.
So you're a psychologist, but it does have some psychological benefits.
Sure.
What is it that you do when you actually go to, like, the Fort Bragg, the work you're doing at Fort Bragg? What is some of that work you do to talk with the soldiers there?
The biggest part of my work is trying to educate them on what agriculture actually is. There's a general stigma around agriculture that it's a farmer that's on a tractor, that's on the highway, that's slowing traffic down, and nothing could be further from the truth, being we're an $84 billion a year industry in North Carolina alone. And it's estimated that there's going to be 60,000 jobs each year in the U.S. for agricultural related sectors. That's starting soon because we're now approaching a really large population increase. So we need the farmers, and we need them to also know that there is a tremendous amount of other jobs within agricultural industry that goes for sales, marketing, accounting, it goes for distribution, logistics, it goes for IT, it goes for security, just about. And the way I explain it to any veteran is basically anything that you could ever have considered as an MOS position, you can find it within agriculture.
How has agricultural and farming grown for veterans? I know coming out of Vietnam that was a big push, but is it continuing that big push still today?
It's a major push because veterans bring to the table something that the average citizen doesn't today, and that's strong work ethics. They're more inclined to be outside working in extreme conditions. They also have some economical benefits behind them that will help them in their growth into farming, simply because some of these veterans that are coming out, well, a large majority of them that come out, they have GI Bill funding, they have access to voc rehab, they have USDA programs that they're eligible for that gives them a little bit of more of a cutting edge to get into those USDA funding programs, as well as their disability money that also helps them to establish a farm instead of trying to start a job and build a farm and then transition from the job to the farm. So that's USDA's bigger push behind it. They're perfectly suited for it.
How do you keep that from being overwhelming to a veteran to think, oh, I got to be a farmer, I got to do all this?
Essentially, it's not too hard to keep that from being overwhelming to them, because when they gain an interest in agriculture, it's because they've seen it somewhere, generally social media pages talking about how cool this is, and you can make $350,000 on an eighth of an acre in inner city Detroit somewhere, which that's a very difficult thing to pull off, if not impossible at best. But when they come in, they're coming in when they come in with interest into the agricultural industry, they're coming in for the sole reason that it's interesting to them and their personality. They want to go be outside. They want to not have to join the rat race of life. So they see an opportunity within agriculture to be able to support themselves economically, and it's my job to make sure that they make that transition correctly, because there's a million incorrect ways to become a farmer and only a very few to become a successful one. So
I appreciate your help and thank you for what you're doing.
it's no problem.